With over 30 years of combined experience in custom caravan manufacturing, Atlantic Caravan's mission is to create a community of like-minded souls who want to explore Australia in unbeatable comfort. Thanks to the latest technology, outstanding interior design and a high-quality finish, enjoying the great outdoors in an Atlantic Caravan is a 5-star experience. If you are looking to explore Australia in class, do not go past their high-quality, innovative, contemporary-built caravans. Check out their Endeavour, New Generation, High Terrain or E-Series models online at www.atlanticcaravans.com.au or call them on 03 9357 6971 or email them at info@atlanticcaravans.com.au. With over 30 years of combined experience in custom caravan manufacturing, Atlantic Caravan's mission is to create a community of like-minded souls who want to explore Australia in unbeatable comfort. Thanks to the latest technology, outstanding interior design and a high-quality finish, enjoying the great outdoors in an Atlantic Caravan is a 5-star experience. If you are looking to explore Australia in class, do not go past their high-quality, innovative, contemporary-built caravans. Check out their Endeavour, New Generation, High Terrain or E-Series models online at www.atlanticcaravans.com.au or call them on 03 9357 6971 or email them at info@atlanticcaravans.com.au.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievsky for any of your electrical needs on 03 9333 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
Preston, near post City, it's in, and again Warren Spink has a hand in it. Andrew Zinni scores the goal. Not only are the fans winning on the terraces, the team are winning on the pitch. 2 goals in 2 minutes, 2-1 up Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Crossfield ball for Zaneski to try the spectacular. It's brilliant, is it over the line? Yes! What's a goal from Alex Zaneski?
It's the winner. What a great goal by Piculovski. The crowd has gone wild, ladies and gentlemen. The Preston Lions are the Premiership champions.
Cross ball at the back post. There it is. And is that the goal that takes them up?
Through ball for Spink. He's in the box. Back for Cole. Cole square. Here's a chance for Smith. Smith, yes, it's there. Spink, Cole, Smith. Smith doing the damage. 1-0.
Hello and welcome to a COVID-safe edition of the Lions Den, coming to you live here on FNR Football Nation Radio. I am in the studio, but all of my guests tonight are here on Zoom. We start with the coach of the women's team who had a fantastic win on the weekend, Dan Foden. Welcome to the Lions Den.
Thanks for having us again.
No, it's great to see you, mate, even though it's over a screen. What did you make of
times.
It's such a bad time to have a suspension of football for this women's side that is absolutely smashing it at the moment. And what a win against top quality opposition on the weekend.
Yeah, it's very, very good result. I'm very, very pleased. We had 6 seniors missing and, maybe 4 of those are in your starting 11 most weeks. So huge, huge result for the girls to get up 2-1 against Burundara on the weekend. So
for those of us who weren't able to get down and see it in person, take us through the game through your eyes. Where was the game won and lost? What was the pattern of play like? Take us there.
Well, look, it was. I can give you a pretty good play-by-play. I've just finished doing all the analysis.
There you go.
Lucky for us this year, the club have invested in some pretty cool technology. So we've got a VAO camera now that films the games for us and records them all, so I can go back over and have a really good look at it. And I had a really good look over the last couple of days, and the first half was really, really tight. They were pressing every single pass. We couldn't find any space. There was nowhere to go. They were keeping us on, maybe a quarter of a pitch if we were lucky. And they had a few really good opportunities early. There's a couple of chances that they had from the top of the box. And another day, Christina Hall bags a couple of early ones and it's already game over before half time. But they creeped a header in at the back post about half an hour in, and they'd been stopping us playing up until that point. And about 6 minutes later, I think it was, nice little bit of intricate play around the box with 3 or 4 one-touch passes, and Miri bangs on top corner, and all of a sudden the girls get up and about, and we're straight back in it. So, yeah, it was a really, really tough first half, really, really tough. And I think in the second half, our depth showed. We ran it out the whole game. I thought that they maybe couldn't run with us for the second half. I thought that they didn't rotate as well as we did. Obviously, in VPL, it's interchange, it's not substitution. So we've got a pretty deep squad, and we can rotate through. You can give Di a 20-minute rest or Diana a 20-minute rest and put on really good quality players, which is really good for us. So, I think that rotation really helped us. And second half, Rachel pressing hard as always, nicked the ball from the goalkeeper and cut the ball back. And if Jules tells me that was a cross from the back post, I'm not having it. It was definitely a shot that creeped in at the back post for Taylor to smash into the top of the net. So 2-1 result, great win. And then we held them out. I don't think that they really did too much in that last 15, 20 minutes trying to get themselves back in the game. We just really controlled the game from then on in.
Tell us a little bit more about Miri's opener and the technical quality that she's brought to the team this season. There are talented players, and then there's players that are pretty special, and she's pretty special. So her technical ability is unbelievable. I reckon I kicked the ball away on her when we were pre-season training because she was doing 700 or 800 juggles before training, and I got sick of watching her. So she's technically unbelievable. She's technically as good as any of the men. She's only very slight. She might only be 5'2", maybe 5'1". She's only really little, but she makes football look really, really easy. Always, everything looks completely effortless, and the gap that she had to put that goal in on the weekend wasn't a big one, and 2 really short passes, a little touch out of her feet, and then bang straight over the goalkeeper, a little bit of dip, fantastic finish. She's a fantastic player to watch, really is. I look forward to seeing that one on the highlights, but tell me a bit more about this interchange stuff, because this is a lot different to most of the other leagues that people were used to watching. Does it give you as a coach a little bit more opportunity to influence the game and change things, or is it more of a just a measure to keep players fit?
So it's a little bit of both. So because I think obviously this league was created from what was the old state league. The best teams in the state league came up, and the 2 bottom teams from the NPL came down. I guess the condition of the players wasn't that ready for, NPL standards, and it wasn't really ready for substitution as we would know in all the other leagues. So interchange is what matches, under 19s NPL. Where you have 3 substitutions per half in that league, but in this one it's complete interchange, so you can make as many substitutions as you like until the last 5 minutes of the game. In this game particularly, it really gave me a chance to play at a super high intensity, because as the players were starting to tire, I could just rotate them out and put in someone else who was fresh, ready to go. So most of the players, I think Rachel played a full game, Miri played a full game, both my centre-backs played a full game, and everybody else rotated. Maybe everyone else played between 40 and 70 minutes, which is fantastic to be able to bring 3, 4, 5 really good players off the bench that would be starting in most other teams that can A, play at that same really high intensity, and B, allow someone to have a bit of a rest. There's no doubt, and I'm sure you can ask her in a minute, that Di appreciates a 15-minute rest here and there. I bet she does. So I think that it's really, really good for both getting extra quality in the park, giving me an opportunity to change the shape or change the game depending on what we need, but also give the players a little bit of a rest and keep the quality high and the intensity high. So
we used to have rolling subs in the church league I used to play in, but that was more to do with stop people passing out as opposed to anything tactical. Dan, how has this team gelled together over the course of the season? What are the differences you see to the way they're playing now versus, first game of preseason or the first game of the season?
Look, I think it's a real interesting question, right? Because I came in the COVID season, the season that didn't happen. So I didn't really change anything from the season that didn't happen to now. So they had a full preseason together, and then they had another full preseason together before they'd even played a game. So they really did get a good opportunity to know each other, to understand each other, to get close. And even the two players that have come in recently, obviously with Rachel and Olivia, they've just fitted straight in as if they were always here. And I think that has a lot to do with the quality of, I guess, personalities in the group. I'm not even talking about football. I think that the culture that we have in the group is amazing. The girls, all of them absolutely get on. We train with the reserves almost every session. We treat them like they're part of the senior group. Their expectations are the same. They work just as hard as we work. And it creates like a bond between the whole group, not a seniors and reserves team, but, 35, 36 players, whatever it is at now. It creates a bond between the whole group. And I think that that's really gone a long, long way because they really do fight for each other. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of.
So this game against Boroondara, who are promotion rivals, of course, just how big of a result is this? And does it give you confidence going into the rest of the campaign?
Yeah, of course. You can't win a game against a top team and then not have any confidence going to the next week, I guess, especially with the amount of outs that we had. But I guess you look at it and you go, okay, well, you've done the hard job. Now you've got to do all the slightly easier jobs. And there are still some very good teams in this competition. So it's definitely not over. It just allows us to have a sniff at finishing first now. Even though we're still second, we've got a game in hand. So if we manage to win that one, then we'll go up equal first. And then it's a matter of who scores the most goals between now and the end of the year. So because, they're a very good side and I'm hoping to win the rest of my games. I'm sure they're hoping to win the rest of theirs. And we beat each other once, so it'll come down to the line, to the final game of the year possibly. So,
well, it's definitely a shootout to keep our eyes on. Now, these players have largely had a really good opportunity to get to know each other, but you have recently brought in a couple of star new recruits, Olivia Edwards and, of course, Rachel, who's started her stint in Preston colours in magnificent scoring form. What are these two new recruits brought to the lineup?
Well, unfortunately, Olivia hasn't really had a terrible chance. She played about 10 minutes and did her groin against Boroondara. So not an ideal start to her Preston career, but she'd actually tweaked her groin a little bit during the week and we knew that it was a little bit of a risk to play her, but it was such a big game that we both decided that it was good enough to give it a go and see what influences she could have. And when I watched the first 10 minutes of the game and she's so influential on the park and then she does her groin, and lucky for us, I think I put Taylor straight on and, she had an absolute blinder, so it's scoring the winner. So, it's one of those things you don't really know what's going to happen until it happens. But, they've both been fantastic, particularly around the training ground. I think that I brought a different level of professionalism coming into the club when I got here, and I think they're even holding me accountable for when I'm not as organised as I should be. They'll turn around to me and say, hey, this is not, where you want it to be. And I was like, what is right? So it's, I guess, lifted my standards and in turn lifted the rest of the girls' standards as well, which has been great for me and great for the group. And they've been great fits. So I'm really, really happy with how they're fitted into us 100%.
That's the danger of bringing in players who are used to a WMPL environment. You suddenly get held to account.
No, it's true. They are right. Sometimes the girls, it's a very young group. Sometimes, in the warm-up, they're not 100% doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they do have a bit too much of a laugh and a joke just before we're ready to start. And the new girls sort of are a little bit older and have been around a little bit longer and turn around and say, oi, pull your heads in and let's go. And it's great for us, They've not come in and been rude, or they've not come in and been dominant, but they've just said, hey, if you want to get better, this is how we get better. And it's been fantastic to have them around.
My next question was going to be about Di, but I think I'll wait until she joins the Zoom call and then I'll embarrass her when she's with us. So stay with us, Dan. We're going to bring Di into the conversation as well on the other side of this break here on The Lions Den.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication, through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 9467 6954. MS Designer Living.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievski for any of your electrical needs on 03 9333 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
With over 30 years of combined experience in custom caravan manufacturing, Atlantic Caravan's mission is to create a community of like-minded souls who want to explore Australia in unbeatable comfort. Thanks to the latest technology, outstanding interior design and a high-quality finish, enjoying the great outdoors in an Atlantic Caravan is a 5-star experience. If you are looking to explore Australia in class, do not go past their high-quality, innovative, contemporary-built caravans. Check out their Endeavour, New Generation, High Terrain or E-Series models online at www.atlanticcaravans.com.au or call them on 03 9357 6971 or email them at info@atlanticcaravans.com.au.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication, through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
You're listening to The Lions Den on FNR Football Nation Radio.
This is The Lions Den coming to you live, COVID-safe edition from the FNR studios, but also over the medium of Zoom. We've got Dan Foden, the women's head coach, with us already, and joining us for further discussion of the women's team, who is on an absolute tear at the moment, is Captain Di Piculovski. Di, welcome to The Lions Den once again.
Thank you. I wouldn't say having an absolute tear, but thank you.
Hey, last couple of matches haven't been too bad at all, at least on paper. Di, it was a big win over Boroondara on the weekend. Fantastic results. What was going through your mind at the final whistle?
I think it was a relief once that final whistle went. I think it was a pretty big lead up to the game. There was a lot of, I guess, pressure on the game as well, given that we did lose to them the first time around and at home as well. So there was a lot of build up, a lot of pressure around the game and, a lot of hype around it as well. So just hearing that final whistle go and knowing that we've just locked the 3 points away, it was a huge relief. And I can't, just the girls did an amazing job. I think that game was a tale of two halves. So the first half, I think Dan touched on already, it was Buradara sort of dominated that first half. Unlucky for them that they didn't put any of their chances away. But I think, towards the end of that first half, that's when we sort of started to creep into the game. We scored, got the pinch the goal back, and then we just came out after half time, and I don't know what it was. We just fought Nathan Taylor. I can't even get my words out. We just fought to the death. It was just an amazing result, and it was great to get the 3 points.
Is this the strongest women's team you've been a part of in your time at the club?
I think it has been. Yeah, I think it has been. For probably one season that we had where we had a pretty strong side where we got to, and it was back then it was the Women's Premier League as well. With I think it was the semi-finals of that in that year. But I think besides that year, I think this is pretty much the strongest team that I've sort of played in my time at the club, definitely.
And you mentioned the game of two halves. I mean, what does it say about the character and culture in the group that you're able to come back from, the run of play being predominantly against you and then take control in the second 45?
Yeah, I think it's a credit to all the girls. I think we've worked so hard this whole season. I think, we started pre-season in January, probably way before anyone else would have started. So it's been a fairly long season for us. And, the girls have just worked so hard since then. And, the results have shown as well, like even through pre-season games and, coming up to the start of the season and even now during the season, having lost only one game, I think the way that we go out there and just fight for each other and everyone's out there wanting the same thing, wanting a win and wanting to play for each other, working, 100% out there, giving it everything. So I think, it's a credit to all the girls. They've, done amazing.
And how are you feeling personally? I mean, Dan rather uncharitably joked during the break that we were holding you together with duct tape and string. But
literally, literally. I think there was a comment made in our chat groups the other night, I think, running out of tape, and I said, I think we might need some bubble wrap instead. I think me personally, I haven't had the best season. I've sort of been just dealing with niggling injuries throughout the season. But just playing my part where I can. So, if it means sitting on the bench and getting everyone else that's, 100% out there, that's playing my part. So, it's not the best season I've had, but I mean, I'll take it if it means we get results and we get those, win the championship.
I think we've got to get you and Butka to share, rehab tips. And I mean, he's a strong believer in his Macedonian herbal remedies. I'm not sure if you're going for any of that stuff.
Yeah, base with him.
Dan, do you want to jump in?
Oh, look, I wouldn't mind asking because obviously I've played Diane what she would probably consider an unfamiliar position for the last few months. And then all of a sudden, the last two games, I've turned around to her after we picked up a couple injuries, said, hey, do you remember how to play in midfield again? After she's been playing at centre-back, having it kind of nice and easy. So I will ask, how have you found it being back in the middle of the park?
It's been good, but I think it's been a bit of an adjustment for me because I have been playing in the back line, I guess, for the last couple of years. So I think for me, just getting used to the pace of the game as well. Obviously, as I'm getting older, I'm, not as fast. But, just getting used to the pace, getting used to the style of play as well. So obviously the style of play that we're trying to play is different to what, I've sort of been used to over the years. So just sort of getting used to all of that. So, and it's sort of made me second guess decisions that I'll normally just make. It was sometimes I just think to myself, oh, did I make the right pass, or which pass should I be making? So just trying to adjust to that. But it's been nice. You sort of, through midfield, you get to see a bit more of the game, get more involved in the game. So it has been nice.
A couple of shots from the top of the box as well. I would have loved to see one of those half volleys go in. I think the crowd would have gone wild. It was a moment as well. Right as we were starting to dominate the game, I thought, here we go. Bounced out just nice and not quite. I didn't quite catch it. But I probably do have another question for you. Obviously, we brought in a few players over last year and then a couple more new ones now. How do you think that the two new girls, being Liv and Rach, have affected the group and the way that we're going about things at the moment?
Yeah, look, I think them coming in, they've probably come in at a really good time, to be honest. I think
coincidentally, yeah.
Yeah, coincidentally, unfortunately, we did have a couple of, a few injuries, or a couple of sort of big injuries, with Mon and Hayley now that, it's unfortunate for them that, with what's happened, and then you've got, Liv and Rachel coming in. Like I said, I think the timing sort of worked out well in that sense. But them coming in has sort of brought, obviously a bit more depth in the team as well, to be able to use and obviously experience. And I think they've slotted in like they've been there all season. Like it just feels like they just fit in. So it hasn't disrupted the group in any way. So I think they've just come in, slotted in and back to, doing what we need to do.
Yeah, I think they've been playing pretty well and training pretty well as well, which has really helped us, I think.
Yeah.
Well, COVID permitting, I noticed that going through the schedule, you've got quite a run of home games coming up at BT Connor. What is the home advantage like? Does it make you a little bit more attacking when you've got the home advantage on your side, a familiar pitch, a familiar environment, or is it just the same game plan no matter who you're playing and no matter the environment?
Well, that's an interesting question. It depends on personnel available, to be honest. So the way that we play, maybe where before we had Rachel, is completely different. Now we've lost Hayley. It's kind of changed again, because obviously you can't coach fast, and Hayley is just fast. Mm-hmm. So that's changed the way that we have to play again, because options that we had before we don't have anymore. So being on the home pitch is fantastic for the ability to get someone like Miri time and space. Because if she's got time and space, she can destroy teams with her passing. It allows someone like Elwyn, who's just got run for days, to really go beyond and cause teams problems. And, you've got Rachel's pace and Liv and Bianca and all the other girls who are quite quick, and, it gives them an opportunity to open the legs up and then off they go. So for us, playing on the home pitch is a really big deal because it allows us to use our strengths, but it also allows us to get in and around the community, because we've actually had a few pretty decent sized crowds, which I'm really happy with. It's really nice to see the community come and get in and around, not just the men's team as strongly as they are, but getting around us as well. So it's nice. I really enjoy playing at home, and with a nice strong run of home games in the back half of the season, I think it puts us in a really strong position. So
you mentioned Elwyn there. She's still in year 12, isn't she?
She is not, but she did turn 18 yesterday. Day before, Tuesday, she turned 18. So she's just turned 18. First year of uni, she's a year ahead of herself. So just turned 18 on Tuesday, just gone. So 2 days ago. And she was a bit upset with herself. She didn't get her license on the first go. So she wasn't best pleased on Wednesday night's training.
Well, if it's any commiseration, I didn't get my license on the first go either, and
neither did I.
It was only recently that I obtained it, so she's doing better than me.
Nice.
She seems to be quite prodigious in a number of ways in terms of studies and also ability on the pitch, Di. I'm not sure if Di heard that one. We'll move on. There's a bit of a shootout going on at the top of the league, Di, between you guys and Burundara. Two good sides battling out for the title, for promotion. I mean, that's got to be the goal now that you're in the position that you're in.
Yeah, I think like I said, we've worked really hard up to this point. We got the result we wanted against Boroondara. We pinched that one back. I think there have been a few games where we could have slotted a few more goals away that would have sort of, put that goal difference a bit closer. But again, we're a game in hand, so we do still have an opportunity to peg a few more back in that game and bring that margin a bit closer, and then just work that much harder, and then just hope that, results fall our way, and hopefully Boroondara slip up along the way and we don't, and then we don't have to rely on goal difference. So, yeah, that would be nice.
All right, Di, last one from me. Hayley, when she was in for her interview, mentioned that Dan has individual goals for each and every player in the squad. What's your target that you've been set, if you're willing to
Survive.
share? Survive.
Survive. Get through the season.
That's pretty much my goal, literally, yeah. I think for me it's just, I guess, managing me and just making sure I can get through the season and just be there like as a leader and just help the girls, support the girls along the way as well. So, nothing too strenuous from me, but I think that's the role that I've sort of, that I'm sort of playing in the team now. So just there to support the girls and making sure I can do my bit along the way as well where I can.
Right.
Yeah, I think we had a really good chat at the start of the when I first turned up, and I saw Di's F45 8 days a week or whatever it used to be, and slowly, unfortunately, she picked up a few niggles, and I think that we had a couple of good conversations around just making sure she could get through the whole season and not miss any or too many games with the body doing what it's doing, and a couple of times we've had trained on the pitch when it's not been so great, and had some bad lighting and a few other bits and pieces along the journey, and it's not helped those niggles, doing a little ankle roll here or there and hurting her shoulder and a few other bits. So getting her through the season and allowing her to be the leader that she is in the group is the most important part of what we're doing, I think, with Di.
Well, we'll make sure the medicos are stocked up on duct tape for the rest of the season. Dan, Di, thank you so much for joining us on the Lions Den, and best of luck with the rest of the campaign once we get out of this lockdown.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, we will take a short break here on the Lions Den. On the other side, we will be chatting to men's team winger who's had a very interesting career, and we'll be exploring that pathway with Rob Stambolziev, so stick around.
Electrical Connectivity Australia is a leader in the electrical industry and specialises in matters of a domestic, commercial and industrial nature. Please contact Igor Georgievsky for any of your electrical needs on 03 9333 0433 or visit www.ecapl.com.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 94 67 6954. MS Designer Living.
Genesis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genesis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genesis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication, through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genessteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
With over 30 years of combined experience in custom caravan manufacturing, Atlantic Caravan's mission is to create a community of like-minded souls who want to explore Australia in unbeatable comfort. Thanks to the latest technology, outstanding interior design and a high-quality finish, enjoying the great outdoors in an Atlantic Caravan is a 5-star experience. If you are looking to explore Australia in class, do not go past their high-quality, innovative, contemporary-built caravans. Check out their Endeavour, New Generation, High Terrain or E-Series models online at www.atlanticcaravans.com.au or call them on 03 9357 6971 or email them at info@atlanticcaravans.com.au.
You're listening to The Lion's Den on FNR Football Nation Radio.
And we're back here on the official Preston Lions Club show, coming to you from the FNR studios, but also over Zoom. And we've got Rob Stambolziev with us for, I can't believe it, it's the first time we've had him on the show. Rob, welcome to the Lions Den.
Thanks, Josh.
I could have sworn we've been spoken to you before, but no, we've gone through the archives. We realised you've never been interviewed, which seems unthinkable, but you are one of Preston's favourite sons. So we're going to rewind all the way back to, was it the late 90s when you first kicked the ball down at BT Connor?
Yeah, BT Connor back in the day, 1998 probably.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken there by my brother and probably my dad. And yeah, the journey began there, being a Masso boy, coming to a Masso club. And then, yeah, having that sort of journey, winning in under 8s, winning titles in the 9s, 10s. I think Mendor, who does the lines for the ground, is my first coach. He's Robert Dolevski's dad. So, yeah, going on having their dads as my coaches and then seeing them now in the crowd and stuff like that, and you see them at the ground, it's kind of full turnaround.
That's amazing. So what are your first kind of impressions and memories of the club in those days, the sights, the sounds?
Well, my brother played, so I was always at the ground when I was younger. My brother was there when they were in the NSL. My godfather, Robert Alabakov, was a secretary of the club. So I wasn't just there from 8, so it was a long time. We're lifelong fans. My cousins played there. So the Stambolziev family and get bigger audience of it have always been around the club. So it's just a pleasure to have been part of it for this long and the journey that we've been on.
Well, for so many fans and indeed players and volunteers, it's a family affair. It's nice to see that. I think the supporters see a lot of themselves in you, but you've actually had a really interesting overseas journey with your career. You left Australia pretty young to go play youth academy football over in the UK, was it?
Yeah, so I left when I was about 14, tried my luck overseas, and I was fortunate enough to win a scholarship at Bristol City. And yeah, I was there in the UK for 2 years playing against all the Premier League teams and all that. And it's funny that we had a youth cup, and I know you've had Pooley on the show with Man City, and we happened to play Pooley in that game. I think it was the round 16 or quarterfinals, and they ended up beating us and going on to win it. And then to see him 10, 12 years later and you're in the same team, it's strange.
That's unbelievable. How did you figure out that you played against each other? Did you stand out at the time? Does he have the same hair? Or?
Well, I scored in the game, but I don't know. I remember because they had Sturridge, Kieran Trippier, all that stuff. But then I think when he came to Melbourne and played for Preston, and me being a Preston fan, you watch him from sides and all that, and you see the quality of player he is. And then he goes, he's a youth Man City player. And I'm like, hang on, was he playing in that game? And then you find out when you had a chat with him, he did play in that game. And then you're like, oh, it's surreal, how time flies during that and then how things work out.
That's amazing. And so after the UK thing happened, you went over to, is it Panathinaikos and a few spells in through Greece and Cyprus rather?
Yeah, so I was at Bristol City, I got offered a professional contract. They gave me a 1 year. And at the time, I had just done my scholarship and the nervous of trying to win that next contract. And then it was only a year. So I had an option to go to Panathinaikos for 2 years. And at the time, they were Champions League. They had players like Jabril Cisse, Gilberto Silva, Luis Garcia, Boomsong. So it was a great experience to go over there. But then being a Champions League team and the budget they had, with that sort of array of talent, it was kind of hard to break into that team. So then I kind of, like you said, I went around Greece, Cyprus, Division 1 and the Greek Super League. So it was a great experience. I learned the language, got to live overseas in the tropical weather, and travel around Europe at a very young age.
I mean, what was that like? Were you with your family at the time? Did they come with you?
In the UK, I had my brother for like the first 6 months. He used to live in London. But from then on, from 18 to around 27, I was on my own overseas. And so I was like, 18 to 27, I would say I was on my own. So it kind of matured me at a very young age. And I got to experience a lot of things that some probably haven't done. And I'm forever grateful for those opportunities.
What was the most surprising thing or the most confronting thing you encountered in your time overseas?
In terms of football, in football terms, I think we have it kind of easy in Australia. You go overseas and you go into a change room, it's one of the most confronting things. People don't want to say hi to you. They think you're going to steal their job, take their, because basically that's what you're doing. Some guys have a family with kids to support and all that sort of stuff. And like here, we kind of put our arms around the guy when he comes in. Oh, here's a seat. Here's your clothes. Yeah, you take my spot. Oh, this is where this is and all that. And I think we're very accommodating. And that's what I love about being Australian or being at Preston, even let's say to this extent. We're so warm and welcoming to other players. Being overseas, probably like the language barriers. I remember back then asking, for cold and flu tablets in Greece for the first time, and I didn't know how to do it. And I'm like trying to sneeze, chew, and I was thinking like, what's she gonna do? And then she ended up just giving me a tissue. I'm like, oh yeah, can't explain it.
Well, I think that miming would be even more difficult in the current climate. But
yeah, couldn't do it now.
Absolutely. So when you first decided to come back to Australia, it was a few years down the line, and it was Sydney FC that called you up. What was the story there? How did that happen?
Interesting enough, when I was in Greece after Panathinaikos, I got a loan deal, and in that loan spell, I was in Kavala. We went to a team with 5 Aussies. So we had Zelko Kalac, Craig Moore came after, Apostolos Yanu, and some other ones that I can't recall. And then so I had the Zelko Kalac connection. So when I was at Niki Volos in Greece Super League, the team went bust. So I had a 3-year contract there in the Super League. And the president said walked away, and they were in debt. So it was winter, and didn't have a club. And then Sydney got some injuries from Nicky Cull and Corey Gamera, and they said, come down for a trial. So I took the next flight that I could, and I hadn't played in a couple of weeks or trained. And I remember I had to do a trial, and it was like a week or 2 in the trial. And because I'd impressed in the trial, I ended up signing as an injury replacement for that season. Yeah.
So you actually ended up scoring a goal for Sydney as well, a winner, as I understand. What was that feeling like to score in the A-League?
Well, it had been a long time. So I had that thing in Greece, and then you're trying to break through, and then you get your opportunity. And then that's what you want to do. All you want to do in my position is, as a winger or a forward, is create or score goals. And being able to contribute to the team as much as I can. And I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time and scoring the winner. And always to help the team as best as I can. And
you weren't retained at the end of that 1-year contract, but it was there were a couple of other overseas spells that opened themselves up to you with a delightfully named Kidderminster Harriers over in the UK as well.
Yeah, so I had formed Sydney. I played Asia Champions League and stuff like that. So I was thinking, do I come back to the MPL? And I thought, I still have a bit in me. So someone was scheduled to give me trials overseas to England. So during that time, I had trials with Birmingham and Watford, and I impressed from other teams to see me. And Kidderminster Harriers said, look, you're still trialling at this basis. Can you come in and help us out and play some games? So it ended up being a conference league over there. I played like 4 or 5 games. And then I got an offer to go back in Cyprus. So I thought, okay, I've done my part. I didn't get to the Birmingham or Watford where I tried to achieve with that. But I was fortunate enough I got a deal in Cyprus.
And after that, I mean, playing at a pretty high level over in Europe, how on earth did Preston Lions persuade you to come home and play in the rather more modest surrounds of State League One?
I had come back to Melbourne and I had offers from the NPL teams. But I was thinking, would I go back overseas? And I remember, I think it was Hume. Hume wanted to talk to me and they said, look, can you stay for finals? And I was like, I can't promise that I can stay. And then somehow, obviously, Louis got his contacts everywhere. They called Piculovski, and I remember going for a coffee, and he told me about the club, and I said, look, I love the club. I'm a massive fan, but State League One, I've came back from playing Asian Champions League, A-League, and overseas, and then for State One, I just kept playing on my mind. But for Lou, he was persistent. I remember he just calling, kept messaging me, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I was like, man, how do I reply to this guy who felt? And I was like, oh, I'll just say yes. I'm not signing any contract and stuff like that. Next thing I know, it's in the local paper and all this stuff. And I was like, hang on, I didn't sign any paper. And he goes, oh, you're back at Preston Lions. And I was like, well, I can't renege on it now.
So Lou essentially bullied you into it. But what was that? What was the experience like when you finally walked back out onto BT Connor Reserve after all those years?
I just remember going into the change rooms and seeing my junior photos on the walls and stuff, and that nostalgia feeling. And then I remember it was like we played, Western Suburbs was the first game, and then going in front of that crowd, obviously you get that roar. And I forgot how big the pitch was, so it was like at halftime, my legs were heavy, and then I was fortunate to score a hat trick in the debut. And, and it was last minute penalty and we won 3-2. And, scoring a hat trick and being your first game in front of that crowd all those years from that juniors under 8s. And, it was something special.
And so the plan was always to play NPL if you were going to play in Victoria, right? So Altona Magic came calling, our friends down the road?
Yeah, it was. So I had come to Preston and helped them out, played the 8 or 9 games during that time. And then I'd gone overseas and then came back, and Altona Magic were in NPL 2. And I was like, okay, they were trying to go for promotion in NPL 1. So I joined them, another Macedonian club. So we played 15 games, we went unbeaten, and we went we won promotion into NPL 1. And then, you want to be playing at the highest level as possible. And it's funny enough, I was thinking about it the other day. I think I'll be one of the only ones that would have scored in or played in State 1, NPL 3, NPL 2, NPL 1. So, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you've had quite the interesting career. Was it Goran Lozanovsky who brought you to Altona?
Would have been Igor Drajevski.
Right.
So Igor was signing, does the signings. I mean, I think sometimes Loza just goes, they come to the training ground and then he's got to somehow work his way, how do these all guys fit? And to his credit, he's done an awesome job with us, getting us to the NPL 2 as champions. And then what he did with us in NPL 1, we were unfortunate with injuries during that time. But having coaches like Loza who won the NPL and Lou, it's always a pleasure to work with those sort of type of people.
Shout outs to Igor, Electrical Connectivity, proud sponsor of both clubs. And how did your return to Preston for the third time come about?
So we had played the NPL season at Altona and it finished up. And again, it was a point in my time I had offers from other NPL teams, and pretty much the closest one I would have had was Hume. Had done a tour of the ground, met with Heggs, and obviously Lou had wanted me to come, and I met with Lou, Kappa, and Dave C, the president. As we went to there, I had the decision which one to choose, and I thought, look, I can see myself playing for Hume and winning the title with Hume. They're a great squad, and going for honours this season. But I said, to try and win it wouldn't feel the same for me, being Preston Junior, and seeing them go up in State League 1, kind of watching it from afar from Altona, but going to all the games and all that, you just wanted to be a part of it. And when I did decide, I was like, no, I don't care. I want to be a part of this journey. Like, I hope to be here as long as I can. My targets and that from 3, 2, 1, and then see how it goes from there. But we take it this year as how it is now, 1 year at a time. So we're doing pretty good at the moment.
You certainly are. What have you made of the season so far? A real emphatic return to form with a thumping 5-1 win over Nunawading on Friday.
I really enjoyed this game from a performance. We had come out of the lockdown and we weren't having the great results. I guess we hadn't had a spell of good performance. We're winning games like last minute goals. So we're getting the wins, but we weren't playing to our best. And to have a Nunawading team that was coming off the back of 5 straight wins, and us having lost against Springvale, having drawn against Melbourne Victory, I think it gave the fans more of an assurance. We came out, pressed, dominated, that we can still do this and push teams away 5-1 and all that. So it gives us that sense of belief, and it could have easily gone both ways. So it shows the mentality of our team, that what Louis and Kappas have instilled in us, and everyone just believes that it's up to us how we want this season to go.
Well, we've got some comments coming through in the Facebook Live, and none other than Benji Leviticos has implored me to ask you what happened to the runners you kept leaving in the change rooms.
I think I'm the most fined player at the club at the moment. I'm over like $600. I'm working in real estate at the moment. So you're wearing your suit, you got all these stuff to go on, your mind's everywhere. You get to training and you forget your pair of shoes. You've got your work shoes, you got your tie, all that. So I left my runners there, and because I kept getting fines, they're trying to teach me to, keep it in mind. So I think it was Stambolziev, put them on the top there, tied them as tight as you can, and I just left them there for 2 weeks. I was like, nah, go get them down. And then no one was getting them down, I think. Yeah, Lou was doing talks and stuff during the training. He was like, nah, better get them down before he cracks them. So.
Well, you mentioned that you've started off in real estate now, starting a profession. What's that been like, and how has it, changed your outlook and, your development as a person, I guess?
I always was that shy person from the side. So, it's been really good at the moment. Everyone used to say I came into the lockdown last year and they're saying, oh, you're getting into real estate, it's the worst time. At the end of the day, I was fortunate because house prices have been going up, people have been more selling. So I've been very fortunate in that aspect of it. But something I really enjoy. I love to help people get the results of selling their home and just putting a smile on other people's faces. And the transition it's been an interesting one. Because with the soccer and stuff, real estate, you work a lot of hours, and then trying to balance soccer training with that, and then go to we'll play Friday nights, won't get home till 11, 12 o'clock. And then I've got to go set up for the auctions on the Saturday. And then, I remember it was the Melbourne City game. I had private inspections during the day, and then it was 11, 12 o'clock, I think. I started driving back to Cranbourne. And then my boss calling me and saying, oh, can you go open the house for someone else? I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it later. And I don't think he knew that I was going to the game at the time. So, but at the moment, with my boss, he allows me that football takes priority, not priority, but that balance that I'll do soccer and that we have those opportunities that I can play. And then when it comes to working, then I put my mind onto it and try and do as best as I can.
Well, the NPL is sort of insane in this respect. You got guys sort of burning the candle at both ends and trying to balance their professional lives and the extraordinary commitment of keeping themselves in shape and all the training sessions and away trips to games. How's your body kept up with the kind of rigmarole of the 9 to 5?
I'd say I had a spell of injuries during my NPL time in Altona, and then I remember signing with Preston. Lou was like, "Oh, don't play indoor," and I went and played indoor. And then someone pushed me into the wall, and I fractured my kneecap. I remember that call to Lou being like, "Do I call him?" But yeah, so I had all those injuries, and then it's been tough to try and balance both, because being the professional that I was, I know that I need to do more. I used to go outside, get the ladders, get the hurdles, and do my own training, then go to work, then go to Preston training. And then I'd start to break down. I'm going, why can't I do this? I used to always be able to do this. So it was hard to get that kind of balance. And then with the matches, but talking to our high performance team, Joey and everyone, and Raf even at the club, and understanding that as I am getting older, you can't do that much. You got to be a bit more smarter. But having the understanding from the coaches and all that, it's a great help that everyone is on that same page.
And how have the high performance staff kind of changed things since your last spell at the club in 2017?
So I remember it was one of my main things when I came to the meeting with Lou, Kappa, and Dave. I was like, look, I want this. I want to see how things have changed in terms of the professionalism of the club, like how things are going. And like I take it as Lou's like Jurgen Klopp when he came to Liverpool. He changed everything. How he turned it around from where it was to where it is now, with all the help with everyone else, obviously your Zach's, your Dave. But in terms of that, and I remember Kappa didn't speak a word during that meeting, didn't say anything. And then he came out and brought a laptop and showed me all the stuff that they've programmed, they've got their schedules, what they're going to do, their GPSs. And I was like, man, this reminds me of Sydney FC. And if you're gonna say it, everyone can just say it, Josh. Everyone can say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but these guys have backed it up every step of the way, not just for the seniors, for the women's, for the juniors, and like for the next juniors that are coming up. This is the place to be, for the young players coming through, watching these clubs in places, and they've got the right people in the right places. Well,
Stambo, thank you so much for coming on. I can't think of a better note to end it on than that. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and stay out of those futsal courts, for the love of God.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Pleasure.
Rob Stambolziev joining us for the first time here on the Lions Den, and we'll make sure we get you back on at some point, Rob, so you can come in and have a look at the studios for non-lockdown programming resuming. But on the other side of this break, we're going to speak to the newly inaugurated president of the Preston Lions Football Club. That's Dave Cvetkovski, coming up on the other side of this break.
MS Designer Living specialise in architectural design and construction of new homes, unit developments, extensions, renovations and commercial buildings. They are located at 14 to 19 Enterprise Drive, Bundoora, and can be contacted on 03 94 67 6954. MS Designer Living.
Genis Steel offer full-service structural steel to leading industrial and residential builders across all metropolitan Melbourne and regional areas of Victoria. At Genis Steel, we take pride in our product, service and reputation. With over 40 years industry experience, Genis Steel manages all aspects of steel fabrication, from on-site measuring, in-house drafting, fabrication through to full site installation. We work closely with our customers to deliver innovative solutions to facilitate projects of any size. For further information, please contact genissteel.com.au or contact the company on 03 9465 1287.
You're listening to The Lions Den on FNR Football Nation Radio.
Back for the final time this evening here on the Lions Den, the official Preston Lions Club show, COVID-safe edition. We decided to change at the last minute from in studio to on Zoom based on the lockdown impending at midnight here in Victoria. And a man who's had a very busy couple of weeks at Preston, who's recently inherited the presidency, Dave Cvetkovski, my usual co-host. Welcome and congratulations on your promotion.
Good evening, Josh, and thank you. And I just want to say, mate, what a great show. It's been great just being able to sit back and watch and listen to Rob's story, Guy's story, and Dan Foden. So credit to you, sitting there by yourself in the studio. I don't know if I can say I miss it, but it's been a busy couple of weeks.
So take us through back to when Zach broke the news to the committee and it dawned on you that a new set of responsibilities would be falling your way.
For those of the people out there that know our relationship as a team, the broader committee, it's a pretty close group, and some of those team members have been there upwards of 8, 9, 10 years. Zach and I guess his legacy that he leaves is absolutely incredible, and for all the Preston supporters, and we saw it out there on Friday night, going up and congratulating him, and it's been a massive, I guess, for Zach, week and a half of, as he says, a bit of a relief and weight off his shoulder, making the decision as mates, and we've been friends, both with Zach and Danny, but with Zach, I think I was at Macedonian school with Zach, probably going back 43, 44 years ago. So to many of the people out there, we've been friends for many, many years. And we had a conversation many weeks ago about this, and he spoke to the committee. I think the first day we found out, it was a bit of a shock to us, because he's just been such a trusted, reliable, fearless leader of this club, who we owe so much to as a broader club, as a broader community. So what seemed to surprise us, and we have a bit of a chuckle, as you know, we don't mind having a bit of a laugh between the group and with yourself, but what we were surprised with is the plan was in place for quite a while, and it actually didn't leak out. So we kind of kept looking at ourselves as a committee and amongst the inner sanctum that knew, going, wow, no one's latched on to what's going on here in the planning in the background for a couple of weeks. But for Zach, it was an opportunity to put in place something we've been talking about for a while, where, the environment changes, and for him to do it for the amount of years that he did, under so much pressure, is an absolute credit to the man. But, as our commitments change, and his has, he's got a beautiful family. His daughter's recently been engaged. And his job is a very demanding job in terms of his travel, as we've always spoke about, the Chiefs jet and travelling to Adelaide and, and all that stuff. We've always had a giggle about it, but the reality is this club is in such a great position based on this team and just the broader people around the club. And that's a key strength that, looking at it through a different lens over the last couple of weeks, we've put in a whole lot of work as a team, and this is about the broader team. And it's interesting because with Zach probably going to COVID, I kind of lose a bit of time with COVID, but probably Josh going back a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we were very innovative in coming up with an advisory board. And a lot of people out there don't realise how many people that maybe they're not aware of these people actually help us on key strategic projects. So this is a beautiful opportunity for all of us. We'll all have our time where we serve on the committee, be it as president, vice president, CFO, where we don't have to leave and we don't leave this club in a compromised position, and we can actually transition onto key projects. And more importantly for the club, we keep our IP, we keep our intelligence, and we keep building this base of great people, be it as committee members or as advisors who can potentially transition up. And I guess as a part of Josh, the transition period, and I still am on the phone with Zach, every couple of nights, every couple of days, we'll still catch up and have conversations. That's not going to change. It didn't change for probably the four or 5 years that I've stood on his shoulder supporting him, and that commitment is unwavering between the two of us. So yeah, it's a nice organic way to transition into this role just keep doing what we do as a team.
So what's the plan? I guess the plan doesn't change. It's not really about the people running the ship. It's about the course. And what's the course that this board wants to set over the next few years?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because I think it was, for 4 years, 5, maybe longer now, when we come up with the first, what we called the red print strategy, which was to start, really hoeing into the infrastructure projects, begin building a platform for success. This was at the start of I guess, what we call Generation Louis Artsevsky, when we went out to get Lou, and keep building this culture across all elements, be it juniors, be it women's, be it men's, on and off the field as a broader, I guess, committee. And that committee's, remained unchanged. To their credit, the majority of the committee have remained unchanged in those years. So that was our first strategic document, which we updated and come up with a new strategic direction just before 2020, which I guess COVID bit into a little bit, but that will take us to 2025. We've openly communicated that at the AGMs, and if anyone wants to come up and have a conversation with us, the key pillars of that strategy are intact, and we need to use that, and we communicate that. We're quite often in with, the FE, or, in discussions with the FA or AAFC and all this stuff that's happening. That strategy is built on, I guess, football across the pillars of juniors, women, men, the infrastructure, the fiscal accountability of our club and the growth, compliance and behaviour, and underpinning all that is people. People are the essence of our club, be it the supporters, be it the kids, be it the advisors, be it the sponsors, be it the players. Our people are our strength across the board, and that's why people look at us and go, wow, look at Preston, and they're travelling. I think from a strategic perspective, the plan doesn't change. The entire board put that in place a year and a half ago. We just need to continue to execute through the successes. It was really interesting. I made a mental note of, I am very good friends with Di Piculovski, and looked her in the eye probably 4 or 5 years ago at the start of the transformation of the women's program. I said, Di, we need to take this program to another level, and her commitment's been unwavering. But it's the first time tonight I actually heard her use the C word, which is championship, and what a beautiful story for, sort of comment from one of our supporters say, I think Stamka said, Di is potentially one of the, if not one of, she's the greatest player to probably have played for Preston if you look for pound years of service and games, and for her to be on the dawn of, whatever this year may hold, and you look at the attitude of the woman, it's just, it's incredible.
I've got that comment in front of me, Dave. I was just about to bring it up. We're on the same page here. Tony Stambolziev says, doubt there's a player that's played in more games in a Preston jumper in the history of the club, including the men's. Di will always make her own contribution on the park, but her influence among the girls can never be underestimated. True legend of the club. That's probably one of the best comments we've ever had on the live stream. So a big thank you to Tony for sharing those thoughts.
He absolutely nailed it, man. He's absolutely nailed it in terms of, the women's program and the success, and we are simply all ambassadors. We're all ambassadors of this club. Every person out there represents this club, and the way we conduct ourselves on the field, off the field, behaviours we display is a reflection. And I always use the term, you always, use the term, the fabric of our club. And this is a pretty special club. I've over the last week and a half, I've been humbled and honoured by some of the messages I've had from legends. I think I was dropped on my head at that club in 1972. For those of you that know my father, I was dropped on my head. I was very fortunate at a young age to semi-adopt Piculovski, who was a legend of our club, when he came down from Sydney to play for this club. Dad would pick him up. I was a little tacker in the back of the car, and we'd come home and Mum would have dinner made. I don't think Mum realised on a Sunday night that dinner sometimes was served at 12 or 1 o'clock at night because we'd be in the social club as a little kid, which, by the way, I went into for the first time last night. So hopefully there's some good news on the horizon around social clubs and stuff. But I went into our social club last night, which we haven't been able to get access to for a good 2 years. And I just sat in there and I was just going, wow, my childhood was spent here eating beautiful chips with hot sauce, post-game, watching the legends go in their beautiful suits and red ties. And they were good times. And we're having those good times now. So, yeah, it's nice.
You talked about Preston people before. I mean, you're not the only person getting a promotion in the committee. There's a couple not new faces, but people that we already know, and some of whom have already been on this program are stepping up to the plate as well.
Yeah, and I'd like them to all come in for I guess the supporters to meet them. But as a part, we always talk about the team, and the first thing we spoke about with Zach was building strength and continuing to build strength. But Cvetkovski, who I believe has been on the committee for probably over 10 years, financial governance genius, behind the scenes, but an absolute, a really intelligent guy. We've elevated into the position of chief financial officer. He's been our treasurer for years, but this club is in this position through the work of a lot of people fiscally, and hopefully as we navigate through the year, we get to the end of the year, we just keep strengthening. We've got to strengthen that fiscal position if we are to continue to grow and be a powerhouse, regardless, of the results. Yeah, we always want to win, every game, but, sometimes in football, the opposition wants to win. We might lose a game or two here, but that won't define us. And this is about the longer term success of us. So Dobby has been appointed into the CFO position. We're super excited and I'll have to look at the history books, but Pina Mollica comes in as vice president, as one of the first female, if not the first female vice president to the club, and she holds a brilliant position as the general manager of Serco. So comes in with a heap of expertise and has been brilliant over the last 2 to 3 years. In our junior setup, in our compliance, and representing us in a number of strategic meetings. And then this man who I hold in such high regard, Danny Piculovski, he's a great man to have shoulder by shoulder as a vice president. And he was, a major reason why 8-9 years ago when he put the call out, he put the call out, I think it was with Chris Turpos working on a recovery or revitalisation plan to just inject some money back into the club, that he started making the calls around. And most people around the club know who Danny is, and his passion is he's sensational. But, I could go through every one of those committee members, and I think a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, before my appointment, I made sure I met up with all of them and had a conversation about what they wanted and where they wanted to go, and their commitment. And there was no shirking their responsibility, their passion. A Steph Cvetkovski, whose father was, the most famous surgeon or doctor Preston ever, he just looked me in the eyes and he goes, "Dave, I love this club. What do we need to do?" Alex Cvetkovski and the whole board, and a big shout out. Actually, I'll Lou Stisnowski, who's a great committee member, had a little bit of an op overnight, and he's just recovering. So we had a bit of a giggle with him. So big shout out to him for all of the great work he does, and to get well with him, but no lifting of heavy boxes for him. He does the merchandise, so he's not allowed to lift any heavy boxes for us. So we'll give him a hand on that.
Well, we've talked a lot about the big picture, this very small picture of the next 5 days. I'm sure people are already across this, but no games this weekend.
Yeah, so it's been, what a week, what a week. We were about to go into a 6 o'clock meeting tonight. We had dinner planned as a committee, and on that agenda, would you believe, was 80 items, Josh? So we had to cover 80 items tonight. So we cancelled the dinner. We had to pull the pin just to, mitigate against any risk. toe some lines with Sports Recreation Victoria and the federations and stuff. So we unfortunately have to pull junior training tonight. We quickly, thanks to you, we're able to move F&R to a Zoom environment. So let's just hope we get over this Tuesday night release, if not earlier, and get back into it next week. We put a lot of planning in this week. The number of meetings we had to go into, in preparation for, we're playing away to North Sunshine, and the messaging we had to get across that by FE. Tomorrow night we were due to play Melbourne Knights, the women at home. So we're looking forward to that. So it never ends, and I think it was my mum and my dad said, "Son, how has your role or responsibility changed?" Nothing's really changed. Zach and I, and the team, we're doing most of this stuff. But like today, I quickly realised that sometimes the buck stops with me, and you need to make some difficult decisions, and I'll make them. That's a part of my style. But I've got great people around me, whether it's my businesses or Preston. I really rely on empowering and surrounding myself with great people, and Preston's got them.
Well, Dave, last one before we wrap the show. I mean, you've talked about the big picture and the club first, and it's all kind of a selfless endeavour on the board, but it must be like quite a proud moment for you personally and for your family and your family connection to the club to become president of the Preston Lions.
Yeah, and it's still sinking in. I'm just still David, and that's who I am. I'm a father of two beautiful daughters who still call me dad, and that's the most important role I play. I'm very fortunate to have a good wife who can put up with me. I think I did 7 games on Sunday, so I think I left the house at 10, and I ended up watching the women and celebrating with them late on Sunday night after Friday night, and she was in the canteen, as she usually is on a Friday night, making coffees with all of our wives that come and help. So that's for me. It's my family comes first, and everyone will understand that. But my passion for Preston, I'll do what I can. But I just ask all the people out there, think of how you can help and support and keep this club on the right track, because it's in all of our hands. And it's been great. I've met with some really good people. So we'll probably be making some announcements over the next couple of weeks and month in terms of just some really super people coming on to a bigger advisory board that Zach and I will lead. Zach will take the lead on a number of key projects that will sit in there, especially, I guess, with the pavilion finishing up. We've got a big job there with the pavilion, but there's a lot of initiatives that we've got to put in place and meetings and strategic things we want to achieve. But yeah, going back to your question and the pride, it's an honour for me. It's, you never think as a kid that you're going to barrack for this club. I still remember the little piece of concrete I'd stand on as a little kid watching the legends of our club, in the old NSL days, and then go over to the social club to, coming back to this club. For me, it was probably 9 years ago when Danny did the call out for sponsors, and like many of us, this place called Preston is just, whether I look at it through my daughter's eyes, who both play there, what it means to them, or for my father, who from the 60s has been a part of the club and loves the club. It's a really interesting observation to see the impact that we can have on our community, and what this place means to people.
Well, to paraphrase a different president, I think not what your club can do for you, but what you can do for your club, because there's plenty to do. And I, for one, I'm glad that Dave Cvetkovski has stepped up into the big chair to do it. Dave, good night, Mr. President, and I'll be ribbing you with that one for quite some time. But congratulations.
Lucky I'm not sitting next to you there, mate. Thanking you for everything you do and the way you uphold our brand. I know how our supporters have gravitated towards you. I know you. It wasn't our doing, but I know you were on the Saturday game. So I know you flew in from Canberra. A lot of people won't know you flew in from Canberra. You got the thing stuck up your nose to get a negative test to be able to come in do tonight. But more importantly, you were coming to do Saturday. So we'll continue to, mate, leverage great people like you in the way you showcase our brand and make some announcements as we get back out of this, because we're going to try and live stream with your dulcet tones the women's games post COVID. So we'll be live streaming the run home for the women as well on away games and the men's game. So a lot of good news stories to come, and to all the people in our community, just stick together over the next couple of days. Take some time to recharge, maybe do some gardening. I've got some gardening to do, my wife tells me, before soccer starts again. So take care.
Be safe, be well over the next 5 days, and reach out to your friends in your Preston community if you need anything, because it's always tough going into lockdown, but we hope we've been able to take people's minds off it just for a little while on the Lions Den. Dave, good night to you. Good night to all the Preston fans out there, and after this brief lockdown, we'll talk to you again next week.
Preston, Speak on the left. Tries it from 40 metres. Oh, what a goal! Cvetkovski hammers one from 40. What a goal from this young dynamo. Near post City. It's in. And again, Warren Speak has a hand in it. Andrew Zinni scores the goal. Not only are the fans winning on the terraces, the team are winning on the pitch. 2 goals in 2 minutes. 2-1 up, Preston Macedonia, and we've got an invasion on.
Roothouse has made a good run from deep. Still Roothouse getting that one across. Piculovski. That's got to be the settler, surely.
One day we'll be back. One day we'll be back.
Through ball for Spink. He's in the box. Back for Cole. Cole square. Here's a chance for Smith. Smith, yes, it's there. Spink, Cole, Smith. Smith doing the damage. 1-0.